What's with all these former players calling out Hugh Freeze?
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Happy Charlie Tuesday to all who celebrate. We're joined by Auburn message board legend and the guy over at the barn, auburn.com. Auburn's newest message board. That is Charlie 5, also known as Kyle Rush. I think the wrong guys are starting at corner. We'll discuss that, as well as a new crystal ball for the Auburn Tigers coming in. But Charlie 5, let's talk about the latest chatter on the Auburn corner of the internet. And it's these former players, and they all seem to be players from the Gus Malzahn era, calling out Hugh Freeze, saying, hey, former players aren't as welcome as they used to be.
Yeah. So it started with Chandler Cox, which is shocking to me, considering that he was given a job with Auburn. So he was hired on to Victory
with the collective.
Yeah. With the collective to work at Auburn and quit 2 or 3 weeks in to go back to doing what he was doing. So that sort of blows me away that he would come out and say something like that. And then you got Corey Grant, who I lives in my neighborhood. Great guy, stand-up dude, talking about being escorted out of the recruiting lounge. A lot of people want to jump on that, like, oh, this is something else that we can latch on to, and negativity and blah, blah, blah,
right.
blah, blah. Well, then I said this thing too. I said, wait a minute now. I saw in the summer Willie Anderson, I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer yet. He should be in Hall of Famer. One of the Pro Bowl offensive linemen, one of the best offensive linemen that's ever played at Auburn.
Yeah,
came out this summer and said, hey, this staff's been better to me and the guys that I went to school than anybody. I have more access now than ever. He's there at Big Cat Weekend. He's there. He's taking pictures on the field. I met Reese Dismukes, shook his hand, got his phone number the very first game, week 1. Yeah. He played with these guys too. I've seen players on the field every single day. There's a process to this thing. It's not hard for former players to get tickets. And it blows my mind. This doesn't happen anywhere else. Like, seriously, why would you put that out? Why would you put that out on social media?
Yeah, let's look at some of and the timing of this is fascinating too. So Josh Holsey, defensive back in the Malzahn era. So I've learned that us former players have no room to go back to Auburn for the games. I'm highly disappointed to find this out. Seeing guys say they had to purchase their own tickets to attend. That's tough.
It's not
Corey
true.
Grant, which he's actually the most surprising one for me. Corey Grant, the former running back, says, bro, I was sitting there in the recruiting center talking to recruits during a game. I was escorted out of the stadium and asked to leave. Never gave me a reason. And then LO, I assume this is Ladarius Owens, says the Auburn brotherhood that we all had the pleasure of feeling from the former players who came back and trained with us and sat in the locker room and on the sidelines with us has been long gone. It gave us a little more in the tank for sure. I'm just not buying this.
It's a joke. It's a pure joke. This is what happened. I'll tell you exactly what happened. And obviously this is speculation, but I guarantee you Corey Grant did what he was supposed to do. He got tickets because he's been here. He's lived here for multiple years after football. He knows how to get tickets. He got tickets, and those tickets don't give you free reign to go every single place in the whole stadium. And maybe somebody should have said, wait a minute, hey, Corey, let's go back out to the field. It can only be recruits. Hey, there's recruiting that can be recruiting violations to have boosters that have a lot of money being in the recruiting lounge talking to players. Okay. So that can be a possible issue. There's reasons why you're not allowed to go certain places. If you're a former player and you get a ticket, you don't get to go up to the president's suite. You don't get to go in the press box by Andy and call the play-by-play. Like, there's certain places you're supposed to go. And I guarantee you that's what happened. And then Holsey and Owens, they're clearly just talking about the Corey Grant situation. They weren't even there at the game. I'm just, it's blows me away. And all these dudes played on the same team. They're like all of them are Gus guys.
Well, it is interesting. So the chatter got out there. Then you saw Willie Anderson come out, and I think he said something again yesterday. And there's been some other former players that played.
Beard, Ronnie Brown, Jason Campbell, all those guys.
There you go. Yeah.
Came
and some of those guys like work with Auburn. So it's a little like, okay, of course they're going to say that. But still, like, this lines up with everything that we've seen. The interesting thing about all of this, though, these are Malzahn guys.
Yeah.
Speaking out. And all of the folks who I've seen kind of come out and say stuff in support of Auburn saying, hey, hold on, I don't know if I'm buying this, are folks that played before the Malzahn era. Little interesting. I'm not speculating or pointing anything out particular, but the timing is a little interesting.
Yeah, it does seem like, I mean, there's the fan base as well. There's been a lot of we shouldn't have got rid of Gus and that kind of chatter as well. So
I think they're seeing some of that. I think they're seeing some of that, and these guys love Gus, and I think that's why they're saying some of the things that they are.
And that's fine. That's fine to love Gus, and that's fine to respect your former coach. But my gracious, come on. It is not a secret. Hey, there's Reddit threads. Reddit doesn't even like Hugh Freeze. There's Reddit threads that are like, okay, guys, look, I'm not necessarily a Hugh Freeze guy, but there's a process for it. There's a Letterman's Club. There's all this. There's so many resources for players to get tickets. You can't just show up the day of and go to wheel call as a former player and get a ticket. It doesn't work like that anywhere. Yeah. Hey, at Alabama, you got to pay reduced rate season tickets for a lot of former players. So that's not out of the realm of that's not just out of like, that's not a strange thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm just, there's so much wrong going on right now. This is something so incredibly unnecessary. If this happened on Saturday, Corey knows Corey could pick up the phone and call somebody and get something clarified, but he went to Twitter and that is very surprising.
This is so not Corey Grant to me.
It's not. It's
and like, I don't really know. I don't know much about Josh Holsey or LO. I had a class with LO, but I don't know the guy. And then like Markel Harrell quote tweeted one of them and kind of said a similar thing. And it's like, okay, like what are we doing? What are we doing here?
It's only happens at Auburn. Yeah. That's why people laugh at us for stuff like this.
It's insane. Like, what are you trying to get accomplished? Like, I guarantee you're going to get way more done if there's people at Auburn, I'm sure, whose job it is to keep up with alumni and former players. I'm sure there's somebody that they could have called and gotten this fixed.
There are hundreds of former players. Okay. There's hundreds of former players. It's not their job to call you every Friday and make sure you're coming to the game. Like, you got to do a little bit of the legwork yourself, and you don't just show up and think you can just walk anywhere in the stadium. I'm heated. I'm heated thinking about it.
It's so strange. It's so strange. You know what else gets me heated?
Tell me about it.
A little fired up. When we're crystal balled some big boy offensive linemen.
Let's go.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah,
just
please,
a second.
God, move on.
Right here on Locked On Auburn. Kyle, what do you do when you're just like, you're in the desert emotionally?
Yeah, I'm there.
You're exhausted. The tank is empty, and you don't know where you're gonna like get any more oomph to move forward. What are you doing?
I crack open a great 5-hour energy and take it to Pound Town, just straight down the gullet.
That's right. That's right. Hey, and you can too. You can do the exact same thing by going to 5hourenergy.com. That's the number 5hourenergy.com. Do you feel like you just can't go on anymore?
Sometimes.
5-Hour Energy can help you do that. They've got a bunch of flavors, but the one we endorse the most is grape. Daryl likes some other one, but I don't really know what's up with that. It's all about the grape. It's all about the grape. 5hourenergy.com, the number 5hourenergy.com to get some 5-Hour Energy product today. You can use our code LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. The offer is only valid until the end of the month. So be sure to do it. Be sure to do it. We're less than a week away. Go to 5hourenergy.com. Kyle, have you ever just been like, I don't know what I'm going to wear today? Have you ever just been like, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to buy more Auburn swag. I don't know what to do. I'm losing purpose. You know who can fix that?
Sometimes I do that.
Alumni Hall can fix that problem for you. They've got 3 great physical locations in Auburn and Opelika, and there's one in Huntsville that's apparently great. Never
Wear
been.
it right off the
apparently
rack.
Great.
Wear it right off the rack, ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't care.
No.
They've got changing rooms there too.
Just
They've
pay
got
for
changing rooms there too. Do pay for it.
Yeah.
Give them your money. It's worthy of it. The swag is so good, so fresh, very demure, very mindful is what the kids are saying these days. But if you don't live in the Auburn, Opelika, Huntsville areas, you're like, gosh, Alumni Hall sounds great. I need more purpose in my life with Alumni Hall. You can go to alumnihall.com.
Unlimited top button options in Alumni Hall. So many.
That's true. That's true. There's a lot of buttons in Alumni Hall, and you can button all of them as long as you pay for it.
You should button all of them.
If you buy something with buttons, button it 100% all the way up. No question about it. alumnihall.com are the 3 great physical locations in Auburn, Opelika, and Huntsville. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. It's been a crazy week. And man, we needed some good news.
Yeah.
Boy, did we need some good news. The everydayers knew we needed some good news. Nelson Maguire, the 4-star interior offensive lineman, 6'4.5", 320 pounds. He's from Texas. Crystal balled to where, Kyle?
The Auburn University.
Let's go.
Or University of Auburn, whichever one. It works both ways.
Whatever the recruit wants to say, they can say it. That's fine. One's correct and one's not, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Now, Nelson Maguire, I mean, this is a guy who he's a 3-star everywhere except for on 3. So I always go to on 3 for my interior offensive line
ratings ever.
Especially when you talk about Nelson Maguire. But what do you like about this kid, Kyle?
Well, this is what I love about this situation is Auburn got on him early, and another sort of, I think, a higher end eval. This was an eval guy. You got to let's really dig into it, check him out, make sure that he's right to add to this class, and then boom. The rankings update comes for on 3, and he's already got his offer. He's already got his official visit scheduled, and boom, he's up to I think he's all the way up to like a top 250 player in the country on 3.
Yeah, so he's 232 on 3.
I think you can't have enough offensive linemen, and I think this is a guy. He's bigger, so he's a bigger guard at 6'4". So I think Dylan Wade is kind of a similar type player, maybe not quite as big from a weight standpoint, but maybe he could be sort of one of those swing guys. He could play a little bit of. I think they're going to want him on the interior, but maybe in a pinch, he could sort of multitask. He could kind of play. Maybe a right tackle or something like that in a bind. So I just think it's a great ad, and I don't think this necessarily means anything about not getting another lineman if you were to get Nelson. But you need some good news right now. This also proves that recruits see things differently than we do. I think he sees, okay, I got some older guys in front of me at guard, and I can maybe compete pretty quickly, and see that maybe get on the field quicker. So good for him. Hopefully,
no question.
Hopefully we can pull this thing off. I don't think it's going to be a quick announcement, but I think it's looking good. Yeah.
He's gotten crystal balls from Wilt Fong and then Cole Pinkston, our hero. So if he could get predicted to Auburn by someone else, who would you want it to be?
Dad.
Your dad?
Have to be Dad. Tom.
Dad, which is Tom.
Father Tom. Yeah. Father Tom.
Yeah. To folks that
then
are
it's over. It's over if that happens.
Over because for some reason he is like the strongest Auburn national source there is out there. I don't know how.
Out of nowhere. No greatest Auburn
he
insider.
Sat next to Dap in the press box.
And I don't think Dap mentioned me. I really don't. I think
he said he was going to. Did he not?
I don't think he did. I think he let me down.
Did Dap get nervous talking to your dad?
Probably. I mean, he was right there.
What a missed opportunity. He'll be on the show tomorrow. I'll ask him that question.
Yeah.
What's your confidence level in Auburn recruiting right now? Because obviously there's a lot of questions, a lot of concerns. Rightfully so. I get it. Does it look good on the field? Where are you with this as far as the state of Auburn recruiting?
As it stands currently, I don't think anything that's happened has affected anything yet. I will say yet. I think that I have not heard anything about anybody necessarily thinking about wavering. I know that Anquan Fagan's scheduled an official visit to Alabama at the end of October. But you know what? He went on a visit right before he committed to Auburn as well after Big Cat Weekend. So that's, his dad has been big on, let's make sure that we leave no stone unturned. Even if we know we don't want to go somewhere, we're going to check it out regardless. And I think
it's
that's
also
smart.
I think with the Fagan's announcement of him going, it's when Bama hosts Missouri, I think. So like that should be a pretty big game.
Sure.
But I think it's just the timing. Like if that comes out a few weeks ago or a few weeks from now, like it might feel different. But that comes out the same time as all these former players are bashing their current head coach. It's like, what is going on?
What is going on?
What is happening?
Poor Taylor is beside herself all day long over this. Oh
yeah, over at the barn.
Yeah.
Taylor Corn. Yeah.
Understandable. There was some drama.
I think there's a lot of people that don't know what to feel. I mean, their team has underachieved drastically. I mean, 90% of the fan base thought Auburn would be 4-0 right now. They're 2-2, and I mean, Oklahoma doesn't seem like an easy win by any stretch of the imagination. They do have their issues just like we do, but ours seems so much worse right now. But yeah, to me, it's just the timing of everything happening at once, right after the second bad loss of the year. I understand why people are upset right now.
What's worse? Hey, just as kind of a sidebar, what would make you feel worse? Okay. Running it back with, let's just say this current scenario Auburn's in, running it back with like a, Peyton Thorne or whatever, not going out and getting somebody in the portal or not having much luck in the portal, or having a pretty solid quarterback and letting him leave in the portal. Which one would be? And then you see him succeed. You're seeing him succeed at the place he goes, and you're switching quarterbacks just like Auburn going into Game 5. They just announced that the freshman kid's going to start. You're talking about Oklahoma. Got it. Yeah, Oklahoma. Yeah. Which situations were, or which one would you I guess not rather have, but which one would make you feel worse?
Well, didn't we already feel that with Bo?
It's a good point.
Like that wasn't fun.
No, he went to Oregon too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Oregon's taking all of our quarterbacks. I think I'd rather be us, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. It stinks either way. But yeah, they got some quarterback issues just like we do.
At least our O-line's like formidable.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're.
We actually have a good offense. We just can't stop turning the ball over.
I was shocked.
The stats are alarmingly good outside of the turnovers.
Did I hear this correctly? Did I hear that Jason Caldwell, he either said the top team in the country or one of the top teams in the country in explosive plays, which
they're like top 5 in like plays of 20 and 30 yards or more. And then I think they lead the country in plays of 40 yards or more. But like Alabama A&M really inflates that.
Well, you had one against Arkansas too. And then you had one. Did you have a long play against New Mexico State? I know you had
New Mexico.
New Mexico, yeah. Sorry, I can't remember.
You had drives. Did you have a long one, a busted one? I don't remember. I don't remember. I blacked out for that game.
Yeah, the rain. I couldn't see through the glass in the press box after the rain.
Yeah, but
kind of blew me away.
I mean, most teams at this point have played, maybe not as bad of a team as Alabama A&M, but like they have played their share of cupcake games. So I don't know.
That was a good point. People are going to be like, well, you played so and so and so and so. Well, so has everybody else. Like everybody else has played some cupcake.
Yeah, like Alabama A&M was bad. Like they were really, really bad, and New Mexico was really, really bad. But you look at like past defenses throughout college football and throughout the SEC. Like, obviously they're going to get tougher.
Sure.
But there's a lot of teams that Auburn should be able to pass against based off of what they've done so far. It's just, can you quit turning the ball over?
Stop turning.
That's the big question. That's the big question. Because like yards per rush in the running game is fine. Yards per attempt is fine. It's just you keep freaking turning the ball over.
Yeah, you outgained Arkansas by over 100 yards. You have a top 30.
It was like 97 yards.
Yeah. You have a top 30 offense in total yardage. I mean, you got Keandre Lambert-Smith, who's on pace for 1,000 yards receiving. So, like, is Keandre Lambert-Smith the best offensive player in college football? Like, people are asking. Is he the best player on our team? He may be. Maybe the best player on our team. There's no question. I don't know what to say.
Like we can have that conversation if you want.
No, he's got to be. He's got to be.
He's in the conversation.
I think he's in the like top 3 on the team. Like I'm trying to think maybe who's better. Like at times Jalen McLeod's real up there. He can be up there, and then they can take him out of the game.
He hasn't been this year, but he has the ability to.
Yeah.
I'm a Kayin Lee truther, so I'd put him up there. We're going to talk more about Kayin in a second. Keldrick has had moments, no question about it.
I mean, when you really think about it, he may
having a hard time of like making a strong argument to say that KLS isn't the best player on the team right now.
Maybe there's an offense. Maybe Dylan. I don't know how Dylan Wade's been grading out. He was one of the better players on the team last year.
Yeah, Connor Luce graded out pretty well too. But he's certainly up there. Which, I mean, thank goodness they went and got him for sure.
If we can limit turnovers, that kid can have a special and memorable season. If you can figure out how to just protect the ball. I'd hate for that.
All right, you just heard it. Kyle just guaranteed a Bolitnikoff Award season for KLS if Auburn quits turning the football over. Hey, Auburn's starting the wrong guy at corner. Let's talk about that in just a moment. Right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. The line at FanDuel right now for Auburn and Oklahoma, it's just a 2.5-point line in favor of Oklahoma, and there's money coming in on the Auburn side.
It's moving towards Auburn.
This line reminds me of the line last week when Cal went to FSU, and Cal was just a 2.5-point favorite. And it's like, why?
Well, I mean,
why? What's going on there? FSU wins.
Yeah.
This feels really, really similar
to Cal. When Cal came to Auburn on game day, the line shifted big time. It's two or 3 points towards Cal, and they end up winning. So I think it's something.
For that reason alone, you should consider wagering with FanDuel. You can get started with $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's at FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, people. Auburn message board legend, the Kyle Rush, thebarnauburn.com. You can join right now for just $1. Okay, so Auburn's starting the wrong people at corner. Hugh Freeze was asked about the corners at his presser yesterday, and he listed them all. Kayin Lee, he's back. He looked great. He's phenomenal. Kayin Lee truther through and through. And then he mentions Antonio Kite, and then Jay Crawford was the third one that he mentioned. He also mentioned J.C. Hart, I think. Right now, Kayin Lee and Antonio Kite are your starters because they moved Keontae to nickel. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Good move.
Great move. Champ Anthony getting hurt is devastating, but it puts us in this situation. Start Jay Crawford over Antonio Kite. That's where I'm at right now. And just so folks know, like the discrepancy, this past Saturday, Kite played 69 snaps at corner. Nice.
It's a great.
Jay Crawford played 9.
And he had a pass breakup in that 9.
Yeah.
They go at him. They go at him every time he goes in.
He doesn't care.
Snap, and he doesn't care. He makes a play every time. He makes a play every single time.
And then J.C. Hart, who I think should be a larger part of the J.C. Hart, to me, like, he has traits that are valuable. And I think some of the traits that J.C. Hart has, his upside is higher than Kite's. Now, I think he's inconsistent, but like, so is Antonio Kite.
Yeah.
Like, at least J.C. Hart has speed. Like, you can look at speed and say, if he takes a step or a misstep, his speed in a deep third scenario, he's able to catch up with his guy because he's so freaking fast. Kite, I don't think has that. Like, when you look at what Kite does well, like, I don't know what the answer is. But Jay Crawford, like, that dude is a dog. That dude is a dog. And we're talking about how special this freshman class is. And like, we've seen what Malik Blockton can do so far. Caleb Harris is playing at like
outrageous.
Every time he's on the field, it's like, who's 18? Oh yeah, that's Caleb Harris.
Because he's got
a knack to, he has a knack of getting to the football. Jay Crawford, just from an eye test standpoint, like, whenever he's on the field, we always notice him because they do throw at him, and it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's a blanket. It's like that Geico commercial. Like, wow, it's like Geico's really got you covered. And he goes, like a blanket. That's Jay Crawford.
I love
Jay
it.
Crawford and Kayin Lee go young. I know Antonio Kite's a younger corner too, but like to me, Jay Crawford is the better option at corner.
Right now, he seems to be playing at a higher level. He's been in a very limited times, and they pick on him, and he makes plays. And Antonio Kite's kind of the opposite. He's struggling a little bit. He's young too, so he could still end up developing and being a better player. But
sure,
he got picked on a big third down play. He got picked on, and he just mauled the guy all the way down the field. And
that's a trait that you look at. Like when a corner is uncomfortable, what do they do with their hands?
They get a little grabby.
But like, from what we've seen so far, like, I don't think Crawford is as grabby.
No.
That's what makes Kayin so good. And he's so good with his feet. He can position himself when he's uncomfortable. He doesn't get as grabby. To me, like, I just think you take the growing pain, because like the growing pains are there with Kite. I think you go with the guy with more upside with Jay Crawford.
Sure. And then I would even throw JC Hart in there. I feel like I'm wondering almost if that first game, which he made an unbelievable play, he just kind of got, it was an
unbelievable play. All right.
It was bad luck that he jumped a smidge too early, but he's so fast. He gets in position and he's big. Yeah. I would like to see him get a few more options. We say we're thin. We're just young, but there's some really talented kids.
100%. But the way we talk about Kite, because he's a transfer and an addition, we talk about Antonio Kite like he's a veteran, and he's not. Like, he didn't play at Bama. He played like 2 or 3 games. Like, he didn't play a lot of snaps at Bama. And so to me, it's like, okay, I don't think that's enough of an argument to play. He played 45 snaps last year at Bama.
Yeah.
And 14 of them were in their first game. And it's like, to me, that doesn't warrant enough experience to say that you've got this major edge over Jay Crawford, who, don't forget, at some of these Under Armour All-Star practices and games, he and Cam Coleman were back-to-back in each other's faces, was the true elite competition of that event. Let's do not forget that.
One of the best videos from that was Crawford winning a battle with knocking the ball. Was it Perry or was it Cam, where he caught the ball and Crawford got it, like he split his hands?
I think it was Cam, but I could be wrong.
Regardless,
it was electric.
What we're saying is the kid's a player. And he's played against really good competition. And regardless if Antonio Kite had 45 more snaps than him going into college, the dude makes plays, and I think we need to see a little bit more of him.
Yeah, to me, I'm a little concerned because he was the third name that Freeze listed, and he's usually pretty good about that.
Mm-hmm.
But Jay Crawford is worth it. Start Kayin Lee and Jay Crawford, and let's just go to town. Just go to town, and we'll see what happens. So
I'm down.
There's that.
Let's do it.
There's that. Great. I'm glad there was no pushback on that. We may have had to get in a fight, which would have been awesome too. How could people check out everything you've got going on?
Absolutely. You can find me on Twitter, _Charlie_5. Subscribe to thebarnauburn.com for only $1 for your first month. Get in the action, get in the conversation. It's a fun environment. It's a fun community we've created. And then you can find me every single day on the Top Button Podcast, anywhere you get a podcast.
Yeah, button your buttons, folks. Like the video. Please subscribe. We'll see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.